So finally she says, I have to take the ring. He comes out of the vision. He says, I'll buy it. She's like, you want it? He says, yeah, I'll take it. So she goes, okay, well, that'd be $10,000 and $10,786 with tax. And he's like, looks in his wallet. He knows he doesn't have that RM in there. He hasn't never had a job. So he said, well, I'll be back. I'll come back and buy it. So he leaves there and he goes out and finds a job. You know, the job, it's in the Bible, the book of Job. Never read that book before then, and reads the book of Job and finds a job at the car wash, and he works every day. 2 or 3 months goes by and he saves every penny. All he does is go to school and does his homework and works. That's all he does. Doesn't go to dances, doesn't go out on dates, he doesn't go out for sports, he just works all the time. And finally he gets about $300 or $400 saved up, and he goes in and the short story is he puts a down payment on the ring, and that's a whole other story. But puts a down payment on the ring, and he pays for that ring every month. And the old man comes out of the back and he says, if you miss one payment, I'm taking that ring back. I'm repossessing the ring, and I'm not giving you your money back. And the lady tries to talk him out of making that deal. That's a stupid deal. He's like, no, I'll pay for this ring. So every day he goes to work. Every Saturday, every Sunday he goes to work. Oh, he goes to church too. And every Saturday he comes and puts $100 down on the ring, $100 every week, until finally, in the last week of right before high school graduation, he goes in with his last $100, and he puts $100 down and pays off the ring for the woman of his dreams. He's got a couple of problems because he can't tell anybody he owns a ring for the woman of his dreams, because first of all, he doesn't have a woman, and secondly, it's a woman's ring. So he can't tell his parents. His parents don't know why he's working so hard, and so he ditches the ring. And one day he comes home from work, this is like a week after he graduates, and as he pulls into the driveway, his parents are standing on the front porch. And he can tell that there's something wrong because his mother is crying. And so he pulls up really quickly, jumps out of his car, and he runs to the front porch. He's thinking, what could possibly be wrong? And when he gets to the front porch, he's like, Mom, Dad, what's wrong? What's something wrong? What's going on? And his mother now is crying. His father's got tears in his eyes, and his dad hands him an envelope. And on the envelope, which has already been opened, it says U.S. Army. And he knows what's in there. He's been drafted to Vietnam. Nobody wants to go to Vietnam, man. It's 1970. Nobody wants to go to Vietnam. And so his mother's crying, his dad's upset. He's like, it'll be okay. And a month later, he's on the boot camp bus. He's heading for boot camp, and everybody's scared on the bus. And he remembers this is like the first day of high school. It's like the tension is so thick, and he didn't know what to do with the ring, so he brought it with him. He gets to the boot camp, and as soon as he gets off the bus, the sergeant's screaming and yelling at all the guys and saying things about their mother. They run until they throw up, and finally, at 11 o'clock at night, they go to bed, and he takes the ring, and he puts it in his locker, way in the back of his locker. 4 o'clock in the morning, first morning of boot camp, the sergeant comes in, turns on the lights. Locker inspection! Locker inspection! Locker inspection. Oh, crap. So he's like, I'm going to get my ring out of the locker before the sergeant gets here. So the sergeant's just going along, and he's looking at the guy's lockers, and he's throwing the lockers on the floor. That looks like, and anyway, Egyptian. And so, right before he gets to Johnny's locker, Johnny's trying to get the ring out of the locker, but he hid the ring inside of a sock in the locker. No one's going to look inside of the sock. Anyway, you get that. But anyway, so the sergeant's like, get back from the locker, Johnson, get back. He jumps back from the locker, and the sergeant throws the locker on the ground, and stuff goes everywhere, and the ring and the sock goes flying out, and it lands right at the feet of the sergeant. The sergeant's all, Justin, pick up that sock. He picks the sock up and says, give it to me. Hands him to the sergeant. The sergeant smells the sock. This smells like dog crap. And he throws it across the floor. Hits the wall. The ring comes flying out. Nobody sees it. And the sergeant says, and report for laundry duty when you get this mess cleaned up. Runs over when the sergeant leaves, picks up the ring, puts it in his pocket. It turns out the ring's okay. He's like, I got to do something different, man. Someone's going to lose. I'm going to get caught with this ring. So he's doing laundry duty, and he gets this idea. He takes the liner of his helmet out, and he gets duct tape. You know, duct tape's good for anything. Duct tape's from God. And he gets duct tape, and he duct tapes the ring inside his helmet. Now he's got a helmet with him. Now he's got his ring with him all the time. And he goes all through boot camp, and the story goes on and on. And finally, they get their assignments. And sure enough, Johnny is assigned to Vietnam. And he's on a plane, a bunch of guys are all scared, and he's just totally scared. Some of the guys are silently crying on the plane, and on this big old cargo plane. And Johnny falls asleep on the plane. And when he falls asleep, he has a dream. And in this dream, he sees the woman of his dreams. And she comes to him in the dream, and she puts her arms around him in the dream, and she whispers, it's going to be okay. And as she whispers, it's going to be okay, her dress changes from this beautiful blue flowing dress to a white nurse's outfit. And he wakes up from the dream, and he has incredible peace. And when finally the plane lands in Vietnam, they land under fire, and this whole story, they're all running, 2 men died just coming off the plane, and they end up just, it's just war, it's just hell. People dying, things he's never seen before, dead bodies everywhere, people wanting to kill you, don't even know. It's just war's not a good thing. And then about 6 months into his Vietnam tour, the worst possible thing happens. They're surrounded by Vietnamese. And the sergeant looks at them and says, listen, there's only one way out. We're going to run across this field, and we're going to jump in that foxhole, and we're going to fight our way out. So when I count to 3, I want everybody to jump out of this foxhole, and I want you to run across that field, and we're going to fight our way out that way. So everyone, on count of 3, they all take off. The whole troop goes running across the field under machine gun fire. Some people aren't making it, and Johnny's almost to the foxhole when his helmet falls off. He loses his helmet in the middle of the field. Gets into the foxhole and he tells the sergeant, I gotta go back for my helmet. The sergeant said, you're crazy. You get your head down. He said, I have to go back and get my helmet. The sergeant said, no, he said, sorry, you don't understand. I get my helmet. So he jumps up and the sergeant's screaming, get your head down. He runs across the field, the battlefield, grabs his helmet and starts running back for the foxholes, almost to the foxhole, when he gets shot twice in the leg and falls about 15 feet short of the foxhole. 2 men crawl out, and grab him and drag him into the foxhole. He's bleeding badly. And about 4 hours later, they finally held him back to the MASH unit. And there he is. He's in a coma for 3 or 4 days while they try to save his life because he's lost so much blood. And finally, after about 3 days, he wakes up. And he doesn't know where he is, and he starts yelling, where's my helmet? Where's my helmet? And he hears this woman who's standing behind him, this woman's voice. And she says, Private Johnson, it's okay, we found your helmet. Your sergeant said you went back for it. We found it. It's okay, we have your helmet. We have your helmet. And when she says that, he's heard that voice before. And he starts thinking, I know I've heard that voice before. And she comes around, she hands him the helmet, and he reaches inside, and the ring is there. And he looks up to thank her, and when he does, he realizes that the woman that he's seen in a vision.